Good evening. For those of you that are just checking out the channel, my name is Tanya, but online I go as Tsukiya. I'm still kind of figuring out what I'm doing with this channel, but honestly, this is where I feel is a good start for me. Today, I received this book from Amazon. It didn't start with me, and it goes into things that you wouldn't think that you were able to pass down or inherit from previous generations, but can affect you drastically. So, the emotional and psychological effects that essentially can be passed down from mother to daughter, even to granddaughter, or um, subsequently through the father's genetics in the same fashion. And I'm only about 3 chapters in, and it is very complex, but can be simplified just as easily as I said. So, the fact that I lost my daughter Janice when she was 3 years old before I had her sisters, and the amount of stress that put on me during the subsequent pregnancies for Janice's younger sisters can affect them. And figuring out how to deal with what we've been dealt. Realistically speaking, it's the same as any other genetic traits that get passed down. The amounts of stress hormones in a woman during pregnancy, to the amount of anxiety and stress that she was under when she was 2 years old. And it trickles down, and it can affect you. It can make a difference. And acknowledging that and taking away the stigma that, oh, we can't talk about child loss. Oh, we can't talk about mental illness. No, these are things we need to talk about. These are things that can affect generations down the line. And as a parent that has also lost a child, acknowledging that the state that I was in mentally when I conceived and had my children after that is step one in making sure that my children grow up to be healthy, balanced adults. I don't want my children to go through the emotional stresses and depression that have plagued me. The times that I had issues with believing in myself. I want my children, my daughters, to grow up strong, independent, powerful women, empowered by their genetics and their history, not powerless or helpless because of it. So, as I progress through the book, I'm going to try to make more recordings and try to maybe even impart my story and my self discovery of the genetics that I come from and how they affect me. I mean, you see it as well, like a lot of people that have been in abusive, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, or physical abuse, you see that transmitted down the genetics. So the fact that we are now coming to terms with the fact that emotional trauma can be passed down in the same fashion shouldn't be a surprise. But yet here we are in 2022, stuck inside during pandemic, isolated, and thinking that this time in isolation, this being separated from our friends, our family, is not affecting us. But it is. On a cellular level, it is affecting us. And on a cellular level, we potentially could be passing this down to our children and our children's children. So, with that in mind, I'm going to cut the video short here, and we'll see exactly where this track record goes. I'll be discussing the history that I am aware of in my family, and we'll see if you guys can draw the lines of how things are connected. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in, and I hope that you have liked and subscribed and continue to find my channel interesting, and possibly, if you find it interesting enough, share it with some friends that you think might get some insight into it as well. Have a good night.